Back to School Tips First Week Edition, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about music, movement, and whole brain teaching. And to help me with that, I'm going to have Bella.
Hi.
Hi, Bella. So I use the attention getter class
Yes, I'm class.
with my students, and that's just how they reply. I also use teach okay. So I prompt them with a question, teach,
Okay.
and they reply like that. Okay, so that is an amazing way for you to get your students engaged, participating on your very first week of school. You can use class, yes, on task, or you can use teach, okay. Hi, the next video that you're going to see, you're going to observe my students using a Kagan strategy called formations. They are going to be performing using a student leader, leading the group using some of the whole brain teaching strategies too. So pay attention, and you can use that on your very first week of school, and they're going to be very excited.
Calling out formation. Calling out formation. Let's build a word. Let's build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it. Teach. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. Kevin.
We are here to learn. Yes, we are. We are here to learn. Yes, we are. We are here to learn. Yes, we are. We are. We're going to share good news. We are here to share good news. We are here to share good news. We are here to share good news. Good news. What's your good news? Nice, that's exciting.
Hey guys, day 2 of the back to school tips, and I am Danielle with Teaching with Finesse, and I'm here to share how you can help save the planet by using less paper during the beginning of the school year. So for my Meet the Teacher, normally they would come in, they have all these papers to sign, or sometimes they have multiple different kids, so they have all these different papers, and so they just grab them and go. And I was finding that I would have to keep reprinting paper to give to parents because they lost it or couldn't find it, and they'd have some returned and some not. And so maybe like 3 years ago, I figured out a way to make it digital. I am someone who loves to make things digital if possible, so why not try the handouts that you give when you are doing Meet the Teacher? And so I used Google Forms to help make my life easier because, one, having all those papers was just too much for me to handle. I tried to keep it organized, but it just sat there and collected dust, and I just, I wanted to throw it away, but I couldn't. And so using these Google Forms, I have found that it helps with, unnecessary paper laying around. And it has everything up there. In a second, I'm going to show you guys how the form looks and how it populates the information that's being put in the forms in a spreadsheet. But yes, I find these make life so much easier because it's not as stressful. You have everything in one place. If you lose it or someone's information gets lost, you can easily print it off. If a parent doesn't have the link or something happened, then they will and then you as a teacher can just share the link to them. They can fill it out and boom, it's right there like in real time as they are filling it out. So this is just something that I found that made my life easier. It makes organization easier and just collecting the information. And I found that the parents thought it was easy too, because they didn't have to have all of these forms. Like, all they needed was to go online, type it up, send it, and be done. Not worrying about, oh, is my child going to bring this back to their teacher? Is the teacher even going to see it? So, it takes the responsibility out from the child, and it just comes from parent to teacher, and that's it. So in the next video, you will see how I created it and how I use mine. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what the Google form looks like for what I use for my parents when I have Meet the Teacher. So I have 5 sections that my Google form is broken up into, and within those 5 sections is just different information that I would like to collect to have for myself, or if I have a substitute, so they can have that information as well. So I start off with basic information, which is just the student's name, the guardian's name, their email and phone number, as well as another guardian's email and phone number, and then their emergency contact's name and their phone number. Then I move into transportation. I break it up into 2 different question types or choices. The first day of school and normal transportation, because sometimes the first day of school's transportation is not always the same as the normal school year. So I have those 2 different things just for myself to have. And then if they ride the bus, their number, carpool, their number, if they ride the van, which van they ride, if they do after school care, what days they are in after school care, and if they're biker and walker, what their number is. For these, if you notice, these little red stars means it's required for them to fill it out. But these sections I don't, because of course not every child is going to ride the bus or be carpool or be banned and so on. Then I go to health. I ask them to list any allergies if they have, any health conditions, and if their child has medicine in the front office, just so I have that there, especially when a substitute comes. It's great to have that information. And then my 4th section is the volunteering. I ask the days they can volunteer, the time of day, and what they would like to volunteer for. And then my last section is just, what do you want me to know? Ooh, there should be a question mark. But yeah, it's what do you want me to know? So the parents take that time to just tell me anything they want for me to know about their child. And I find that really helpful, because I get to read the parents' feedback of what they think of their child and what they want for their child. And it's really helped me in the past couple of years. So yeah, and so after you do your Google form, I do mine in QR code, so I just have like 1 slip of paper that's like, oh, welcome, here's about me, and then here is, and then they just scan the QR code and it takes them to this form. And then the great part about this, and this is why I do it digitally, it will collect your responses. So for here, if you go to responses and you want to see, it automatically creates a spreadsheet. I've already done that, and it's right here. And so here's my spreadsheet, and all the information that will be filled out will be up here and will populate up here. So whenever I need to find information, I literally go to this form, and it's there, and it's easy. I can print it off and give it to my substitute. I have it just printed off in my class. And so yeah, so that's how I use Google Forms, and I hope you really enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Instagram at teachingwithfinesse_, and I will be happy to get you started in saving the planet and using less paper. And making life a whole lot easier, I promise. But thank you.
Hey friends, this is Nita from Love Teach Blast, and I'm just coming in to talk to you guys quickly about walkthroughs and my job as the instructional coach in the beginning of the year. So I'm going to have some tips from teachers that actually work with me every day But I wanted to just come in and say my beginning of the year walkthroughs are truly, and all year truly, are non-evaluative. So when I come in at the beginning of the year, I really am just wanting to be visible, show my face, and just get to know the kids, take time and build that relationship with the teachers, and just get into the classroom to see great teaching. A lot of times when I leave notes, there are always positive notes, just to keep the teacher kind of wanting to go on, knowing it's their first couple of days of school, and just building that relationship. So here are some quick tips from teachers that I work with every day about beginning of the year walkthroughs. How do you feel when I come into your room for beginning of the year walkthroughs?
I feel fine. I don't feel anxious about anything. I feel like it's a learning experience for both Ms. Creekmore and myself, so we can become better co-workers and better educators.
How do you feel when I come into your classroom at the beginning of the year for walkthroughs?
No, I'm super excited when you come in. We love it because you always teach us something, give us great feedback, and the kids love you too.
Just remember, guys, walkthroughs provide teachers with usable data only if the teacher is thinking critically about what the data means. Those providing the data need conscious conversations with teachers before and after observations to set a collaborative climate for that critical thinking. So just don't be nervous about walkthroughs at the beginning of the year. Just do your regular teaching that you normally would do, build those relationships, and have a great school year.
Tip number 1, have a weekly schedule of everything that you need to do throughout the week and stick to that schedule. Tip number 2, prep for the next day. Make sure that you have everything out and ready for the next day for your students. So when they come in, you'll be up and ready to go. Tip number 3, round up those parent volunteers on the first week of school. We all need a little help. Tip number 4, give up striving for perfection. Rome was not built in a day. Just because those bulletin boards aren't perfect, it's okay. Tip number 5, if you start school in August or even in September, try to get those assessments done within the first 3 weeks of school. Trust me, it will save your sanity. Tip number 6, set those office hours and stick to them. Let your parents know your office hours from day 1 and stick to them. Trust me, you'll benefit from this in the end. Tip number 7, ask for and accept help. Find your tribe. Don't be afraid to ask for help or accept help. You will definitely benefit from this. Find your tribe. And finally, tip number 8, avoid negative talk. Surround yourself with a bunch of positive people. Make that atmosphere positive, and trust me, you will have a great school year. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great school year. And by the way, the magical teacher will be coming to you tomorrow with some magical tips. Bye, guys.
Hey teacher team, so today's back to school tips are all about how to greet, govern, and guide your students during the first weeks of school. Most of us get the chance to meet our students prior to the first day of school. This is a great opportunity to make a fantastic first impression. Let me tell you how. You study your students. Most school systems have online campus portals that include student pictures as well as the student information. Take some time to study your students. Practice saying their name so that you can pronounce it correctly the first time you meet, and get familiar with how they look. How special of a moment will it be for them to walk into your classroom and be warmly welcomed by you, and they'll be so impressed that you recognize them right away. This is a great way to start building that relationship with the student as well as with their family. Next, we have to govern our students. Classroom management is key. I govern my students guidelines for success. I have 5 guidelines for success. They include remaining focused at all times, being your own self-manager, following directions immediately, using kind words and actions, and always striving for excellence. So these guidelines for success are pretty broad, but what I do is I dig in with my students and we kind of unpack what these guidelines mean, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like to apply these guidelines for success in several different school situations, in the cafeteria, in the hallway, even in the library, and at dismissal. We talk about that pretty extensively the first several weeks of school so that the kids completely understand the expectations and that they know what positive behaviors I'm looking for. Additionally, I guide my students. I guide my students through modeling what I want them to do and what I want. I show them how to unpack in the mornings. I show them how to set up their desk. And I even show them how to use their notebook paper. I want them to know exactly down to where their name should be on that notebook paper, what my expectations are. So we have to appropriately greet our students. We have to govern them consistently, and we have to guide them. If you can do those things, you're bound to have a great school.
Hey everybody, as you may know, I am the magical teacher and I love to spread magic in my classroom and help other educators spread magic in theirs. And magic is motivation, academic accountability, goal-driven, inquisitive thinking, and content engaging. But before you can spread magic, you need to make sure your procedures are in order. So my first week of school tip for you is to sit in your classroom, just like I'm going to do tomorrow, and write out all your procedures. And most importantly, I'm going to go on a tour of my campus and make routes to and from every location on campus and plan designated stops that I'm going to teach all of my students so that when they are the line leader, they know to stop at those stops, look at me, and get a nod or a thumbs up to go to the next stop. This ensures that all students are safe, it ensures that your lines are on point, and it makes sure that your students aren't walking ahead just in case someone is talking to you while you're trying to get to your location. So I hope that those 2 tips help you for your first week of school. Good luck.
Hi everyone, it's Annalisa, also known to all of you as Wrapped in Education. I have a few tips for you today on how you can have a positive start to your school year. The very first tip that I have for you is to establish limits and boundaries. I know that may sound a little harsh, but the best thing you can do for yourself and for your students and the staff around you is to know your boundaries as far as what you're comfortable with personally and as far as what you're comfortable with professionally. A great example of that is teachers are often asked to join committees and or spend time before or after school. Know your schedule, know your family situation, and know your limits and boundaries so that you can make a positive decision in saying yes or no to that. The second tip I have for you is to know your school policies, know your district policies, and review your handbook thoroughly. One of the things that
Hey everybody, I'm Danielle from Hot Mess Teaching. I want to come on with my back to school tip. My tip is going to focus all on relationships. You have to know the students you teach. You interact with these little people each and every day, and you have to establish a strong relationship. One of my favorite activities to get to know my students and build that strong relationship is student interviews. You don't need anything. All you need is a clipboard. Write down the information. Ask them a series of questions. Who do you live at home with? Do you have any siblings? Do you have any pets? Anything else you want to tell me? And I write down this information and I use it throughout the school year. How's your dog Britson doing? I can ask them these questions because I've gained this information about them. In a nutshell, you have to deeply know your students. That's how you're going to establish mutual respect, how your classroom will be a wonderful place for learning. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful school year, and I can't wait to share more with y'all. Bye.
Welcome to Math Tip Tuesday, Back to School Edition. This one is for all you teachers out there. Y'all, I'm in Disney World. Thanks to the Disney Youth Programs, I am here at Disney World experiencing all the STEM programs available to middle and high school students. But it makes me think about my math class because I've been learning about some amazing, awesome jobs that are here for people to do. And in my class, I help build class culture by having class jobs. So for my back to school tip, I thought I would share with you how I use class jobs in my math class. I have found that class jobs empower students, help to create responsibility and make your job a little bit easier because you get some help. My jobs are iPhone themed because my students love technology and cell phones. So I love using it because they each have a role in how my class functions. My students are paid for their class jobs with Scholar Dollars, and Scholar Dollars are used to buy house points. You can earn Scholar Dollars in class by answering questions and performing mathematical tasks as well. But that's a whole nother video. To get a class job, the students have to apply online, build a resume and submit it, and interview. I make it just like real life. Students who get the job get a letter of acceptance, but they also can be fired or rehired. And y'all, class jobs just make your class fun. The kids love it. You can find creative ways to embed it into any theme. Check it out. That's my back to school tip. Have a great school year. Hope it's magical just like Disney.
Hi everyone, I'm Esther, if you didn't already know, and I'm here with our last back to school tip. So my video is called how to get your kids to think that you're a superhero, and basically my whole thing right now is about faking it till you make it. If anybody knows me, you know that I'm like secretly a hot mess. But I put on a really great facade so that I don't come off as a hot mess, and then I come off as I have everything together. Ladies and gentlemen, coming off as you have everything all put together is literally, in my opinion, the secret to your back to school success. So when my kids walk in to class, their first day of school, I'm there to greet them at the door. I have on a really nice outfit. For about the first 4 years of my teaching career, I had on heels. I think I just gave up the heels last year or maybe the year before that. I might go back to it, or like some platforms. I don't know yet. Anyway, I have on a really nice outfit. There's something ready for them to do as soon as they walk into the door, because I want that to be the precedent that I set. And I go over all the procedures for that first day of school, and I make them practice some of the procedures because I want them to think that I have it all together. And basically what I would say is the key is consistency. I do not have it all together. You don't have to have it all together, but you need to appear, and you need to keep that consistency for at least 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Get it all the way together, okay? I think follow through and consistency are the main things for the kids to know, hey, you're the one who knows what they're doing. They're confident. They have this under control. And I think that's a major part of your success for your back to school. So I remember dotting all my I's, crossing all my T's, being on my P's and Q's my first couple of my very first year, and I have always stayed that way. And this is year 8, so this is going to be my 8th first day of school this year. And I would still say the one year that I felt like the beginning of the year was kind of rocky was the year that I decided not to be as thorough in my opening procedures and my opening day. And that was the year that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to it. And I have gone back to it every single year, and it's made all the difference. So be consistent. And then I would also say be consistent in your demeanor and interactions with the kids. So I like to smile, and I like to laugh, and I like to joke around. And because I like to laugh and smile and joke around, my students have a tendency to think that I'm gonna be like the nice teacher that they can, like, you know, be crazy or whatever, which is not the case. But I say be consistent, because even when I'm reprimanding my students, or like trying to redirect them or trying to get them to do something else or change some kind of behavior, this smile is on my face. And I've even had kids tell me, I don't know if you're serious because you're smiling. And I'm like, I'm serious. If I tell you to do something, that means that you're gonna do it. So I'm always consistent in the way that I act with my kids, because I also don't ever want them to think that just because I'm reprimanding them or just because I'm redirecting them somehow, that means that I'm not going to treat them with respect. And I always tell my kids that too, that respect is the number one thing that goes into this classroom. You respect me, you respect you, you respect your classmates, you respect this environment. And I'm always going to give you back that respect without a doubt. Even if you don't give it to me, I'm going to give it to you. And I think those kinds of consistencies in how you respond to them, consistencies in the respect that you give to them, consistency in your procedures and following through, and being consistent with all the little minute details of your classroom. Put the facade on for about 6 to 8 weeks, guys. And I promise that you will be glad, and that the rest of the year will almost be on autopilot. Almost. Except for when they come back after winter break and they act like they've never been there before. All right, so that was the last back to school tip. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you're following all the lovely ladies in the description box down there. I don't know, I'm sounding like a YouTuber now. These ladies were awesome, and they all gave good tips, so make sure you follow them and go back and watch their tips if you haven't already. All right, later.